Hi everyone and welcome to Theme Park Worldwide. Unfortunately, I'm back with some more sad news for the UK theme park industry as Oakwood Theme Park, located in Pembrokeshire, Wales, have announced that the park will not be opening in 2025, and they've shared a statement on their website about the closure, and also there's a few hints in there about the future of the park as well, which sadly are not sounding very good. Now we've had quite a lot of negative news, haven't we, from the theme park industry over the recent months, and so many rides have closed. We've had different parks that have closed as well. I mean, it's only last year that we lost Flambards here in the UK, down in Cornwall. It just feels like quite a sad time for the UK theme park industry, and a very difficult time for a lot of parks at the moment. We've got areas like Wild Asia at Chessington that are closing a full themed area throughout this year. We've got rides that have been removed at Alton Towers, such as the Blade. So, you know, there's just a lot going on in the industry at the moment. Some small things, some big things, but this is definitely a huge loss for the theme park industry. A full theme park closure with Oakwood Theme Park, and we've had many memories there over the years. I always remember first visiting, and then obviously going with the Coaster Club, and we were camping out there, and so many amazing memories over the years, especially riding on their wooden roller coaster, Megaphobia. So you can find the full statement on the official website. I'll put it just here on the screen as well for you to see. And this was posted yesterday on the 4th of March 2025, stating that the park will not open for the 2025 season. This was posted, of course, by Aspro Parks, which is the Spanish company that have owned Oakwood since 2008. So quite a long time Aspro have owned the park. They own a variety of different theme parks and attractions. And in fact, if you saw the video I posted yesterday on the channel from the Aqualand water park in Tenerife, where I got stuck on the slide, that was actually an Aspro theme park owned by them. So yeah, obviously they completely own that water park, and they own some aquariums and theme parks and all sorts of different attractions. So yeah, it's quite interesting when you look at what Aspro own. A lot of things around Europe, and especially water parks and theme parks. That's kind of what their main focus is. But still, they're a bigger company than a lot of people realise. Now, the decision why they've made to close Oakwood is due to the current business environment. Aspro have actually stated here that they've invested over £25 million into Oakwood since 2008 when they purchased the park. And of course, before that, it was a family-owned park, and I'll kind of come on to that a little bit more later in the video as we go into some of the reasons why we might be seeing this closure, you know, for the long term for Oakwood, because it does state here that this is for the 2025 season, and I'll kind of come on to my thoughts on that a little bit later on. But despite the ongoing investment, visitor numbers have declined at the park, and the financial performance of the park has suffered, making further investment unsustainable, which is such a shame, because that's the thing. Oakwood and Aspro have spent money in different areas, and the same 25 million, that figure over the years, you know, I can believe that, because running and the upkeep of a theme park, especially in this day and age, it costs a lot to do simple things like painting and maintenance, and you know, all them things are adding up each year, and when you're not getting the footfall through the gates, that's obviously what we're seeing here with the sad closure of Oakwood. They also said, you know, with the current environment and challenges ahead, increases in operating costs affecting all areas of their operation, from ride parks to electricity, food and beverage inflation, increases in the national living wage, and also changes that are coming up to the national insurance thresholds have all impacted this decision. And that's the thing, we're in a real kind of different time for the UK, aren't we, at the moment as well? And I try and stay out of politics. I focus on theme parks, attractions, and just making the most of life and having a good time. But it's clear with everything that's going on at the moment, that is having a big impact on theme parks and leisure attractions, which is just really sad, especially when it's what you love and you're so passionate about. And the fact we're seeing these closures and lots of other cutbacks at theme parks at the moment, especially here in the UK, is really sad. So all of that has impacted the decision, just the current business environment really, where we're at. Now, going a bit more into Aspro, this is actually the first time that Aspro has ever closed one of their attractions. Like I say, they've tried to invest and improve, and they've always tried different things at Oakwood, which I've really appreciated, especially in the summer with their After Dark events, and then they spent a lot of money, a couple of £1 million, on a big refurbishment only a couple of years ago on Megaphobia, their CCI wooden roller coaster. They spent a lot of money on Megaphobia, they retracked lots of it, and they did a fantastic job. It was getting quite rough, a bit too rough, in some areas, and of course it is a wooden coaster. You know, you don't want it to be perfectly smooth, but also you don't want it to like rattle your bones too much either. And they spend that money. They did the refurbishment there on Megaphobia. A couple of £1 million was spent only a couple of years ago. You know, so they really wanted to try and, you know, they were investing for the long term in that ride. And as much as we've seen a lot of other poorer decisions at the park, which I'll come on to in a moment, that I think have affected the closure, it's just sad, isn't it, that we've got to this stage now that we might end up losing Megaphobia, which in my opinion is the best wooden roller coaster that we've got here in the UK. So yeah, first time they've closed any of their attractions, and what they're planning on doing here is stripping it with some of the assets and actually to improve some of their other parks. And like I said, they own quite a few. They own a Walligator Park over in France and a few other bits. So we're possibly going to see some of the rides from Oakwood sent abroad to some of their other parks. They don't own any other theme parks or water parks or anything here in the UK. They own an aquarium here in the UK, but most of their assets are abroad. Like I said, they are a Spanish company and own a lot of attractions throughout mainland Europe. So yeah, where possible, it says in the statement that assets are going to be stripped and sent elsewhere. And that's the sad bit here, because obviously the statement does say that Oakwood has closed, but it also says it's only closed for 2025. So my early predictions about what's going to happen here is that Aspro, and this is just my predictions, not from the statement or any confirmation, obviously they're stripping out what they can do. We already saw a couple of weeks ago the removal of their huge water ride, Drenched. That came down a couple of weeks ago, and that was the early kind of signs that something was going on behind the scenes. And then along with that, last week, pictures of Bounce, that was only refurbished again a couple of years ago, their shot and drop tower, that was being taken down. And also the pirate ship as well looked like it was being removed too. So I think what we're seeing here is anything what's easy to take down or remove or could be used at other attractions is being removed. And obviously, we're going to see them taken elsewhere to some of Aspro's other parks. They may possibly look at selling a couple of rides as well, maybe to other parks if they kind of don't want them for theirs. But I think what we're going to see here is most of the rides that can be moved, obviously, taken to other parks. Now, that leaves the question for some of the bigger attractions at Oakwood Theme Park, and mainly, what is the fate of Megaphobia? CCI wooden roller coaster opened back in 1996, an incredible ride, one that we absolutely love here at Theme Park Worldwide and have had many happy memories on, especially during them after dark events. I think what's going to be happening with that, obviously you can't really take down a wooden coaster and relocate it, or at least not easily. It has been done in the past. You've got to look at Knoebels. They did that with Phoenix many years ago, but still it's not common to do that, and it's very costly to do that, especially in this day and age. You've got to think of Speed as well. Their 2006 Eurofighter, the best Eurofighter we've got in the UK. You know, that could be sold and relocated. And I guess it depends on it. Do Aspro want to spend the money taking that ride down? It's a big coaster. You know, they might spend the money, they might not. They could end up leaving it there and for a potential sale to another park, or selling the actual site, which I'll come on to in just a moment. But yeah, 5 coasters were operating there as of last year, and obviously that was the last year of the park operating, which is so sad, isn't it? Just losing these attractions, it's really upsetting, and especially places, you know, where you've had so many happy memories and great times over the years. It really is upsetting. So they've already started stripping assets. Let's just basically see what comes out next, what stays, and what kind of happens from this point. So obviously, we know it's shut through for 2025. I'm thinking here, again, this is just my thoughts, when Aspro strip the assets that they want from there to take to their other parks, I think we'll see this go up for sale, as in the land. You know, is Megaphobia and Speed and other rides still going to be on there? I probably think they will be. So obviously what we might see happen here is 2 options really. We may see the land sold with rides still on, or the other option could be Aspro will, throughout the year, remove the other attractions or demolish things and then sell it as just an open plot of land, which could turn into, well, building or anything like that, you know. But ideally, another leisure attraction. You got things like the bobsleigh there as well. There's dark ride hardware. There's quite a lot of flat rides and things there too. So there's a lot going on. Aspro made us gradually remove the rides throughout the year. We might not see a sale of the land or anything for a couple of years yet. But still, what I am hoping happens, this is what I really would like to see happen with this, is the fact that next door you've got Bluestone Holiday Resort that actually opened in 2008, and there is a connection to Oakwood because Oakwood was started by the McNamara family, and obviously when they sold the park in 2008 to Aspro, the Spanish company, they actually opened Bluestone Holiday Park next door, literally it's right next to Oakwood. And if you've been in recent years and been on Megaphobia, you can see how they've kept expanding Bluestone, and they've got some of the accommodation right next to it on the other side. What I would love to see happen here is actually see the family buy the park back again, and they could make it one big integrated resort. Even if we're seeing, you know, not many rides in there, if it's all part of Bluestone and their complex, you know, imagine if they could keep Megaphobia operating, maybe the pedlos down there on the river, along with that the bobsleigh, maybe some things like speed and other attractions. They're clearly expanding. They've built lots of new accommodation in the past few years, so maybe what could happen here, the family that opened the park back in the 80s, or at least half of the family, I think there was a bit of a family argument from what reading into it, but at least some of the family still own Bluestone next door that started Oakwood. That sentimental value, they brought in Megaphobia. I don't think they're going to want to see Megaphobia torn down. Lots of us don't want that either. I mean, pretty much all of us, you know, don't want to see anything happen like that, do we? It's really sad when a ride gets torn down. So I guess we'll see what happens. But I think that could be the best case scenario here. Yes, the park's shut for this year. It's not going to reopen under Aspro, that's quite clear. But I still think there could be a future out there. If it gets sold for the right price, and if Bluestone are interested in it next door, or even another company, then it could be saved. You've got to think, even for other theme park operators, Looping Group, they saved Drayton Manor a few years ago, and they've constantly invested in the park. Maybe Looping Group would be interested. Maybe one of the other companies out there. I highly doubt Merlin would be interested based on their current financial status. But still, maybe there's another park company out there, another group that will be interested in taking Oakwood on. But as it stands at the moment, it's not operating this year. Is it a permanent closure forever? Who knows at the moment? Based on this statement and stripping assets, it does seem that way. But still, are you going to really strip Megaphobia and some of the other bits like the bobsleigh and other attractions? I don't know. I'd like to think even if it could be sold with a few rides standing, maybe Bluestone next door or another park company would take it on. But still, let me know your thoughts. Share your memories from Oakwood Theme Park down below in the video comments. And yeah, obviously our thoughts are with everyone affected that worked at the park. We had some great friends that worked there over the years, and yeah, it's really sad, isn't it? I think for me, the reason we've seen this decline is a lack of investment in new rides. What seemed to happen was, you know, they wanted to, like the dark ride closed a few years ago, and then they just didn't reopen it, you know, so it's kind of been a lack of investment from that point on what's led us to this point. And if you're not getting people through the doors, it's hard to invest, isn't it? So it's them cycles. But I think what's not helped is things like staggered openings. Drench was staggered. The mini golf area, that was all just closed off. You know, all it needed was a bit of painting up. It was just closed off for a future development that never came. So a few attractions closed. There was another dark ride that closed and wasn't replaced. So that's always a sign, isn't it, of a theme park not doing very well. I think it's a mix of some poor decisions over a few years, but what I'll always remember is them amazing rides on Megaphobia, and especially during their After Dark event. It was one of the only parks in the UK to put on a couple of nights each week, a fireworks show, a DJ event, the rides in the dark. It was amazing, their After Dark event. And if you watch our most recent Oakwood vlog that we did a couple of years ago, then you'll be able to see that. And of course, there's a full Oakwood theme park playlist here on the channel with everything that we've filmed there over the years. Hopefully it won't be a full goodbye to the park. I really do hope that someone takes it on. But as it stands at the moment, assets have been stripped. It's not opening for this year. It's certainly not looking good for the future of that park, which is really, really sad. Thanks so much for joining me here on Theme Park Worldwide for another news update. As always, we'll keep you up to date with everything happening in the theme park industry. I'm just hoping for some more positive news soon. It's all been very doom and gloom the past few months. There's not been a lot of positive things to talk about, especially here in the UK, which is very, very sad. But if you're wondering where I'm filming this, by the way, not my usual backdrop, I'm at Centre Parks at the moment, and we've got a Centre Parks series coming up over on the Sandbrook Adventures, our second channel. That'll be starting next week, so make sure you come and join us for that. But thanks very much for watching, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.